Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Live Ones. I am Big Matt, your capper extraordinaire, and I am back in the game after a couple of years away. Long story short about where I've been and what I've been up to, the massive inflation of the past 5 years that's been taking place all over the economy finally just hit a breaking point with me, made it necessary for me to pick up a second job for a while. If you paid any attention to your grocery bill, your electric bill, just about any good or service anywhere in the Western world these last 5 years, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But things have eased up a bit. Plus, we're coming out of the annual sports dead zone and up on my favorite sport in the world, college football. I want to be here. I want to be talking sports, talking capping with all of you. We're going to make it work again for as long as we can. And as always, we're going to start with the headlines of the day. NFL preseason in full swing. We're still dealing with the contract drama and surprise trades that we always see in August. CeeDee Lamb, Jamar Chase, Brandon Ayuk, and Hassan Reddick are all holding out for new contracts. Doesn't really seem to be a whole lot of movement on any of them. A big surprise trade, though, a couple of hours ago, as the Washington Commanders made a deal with their division mates, the Philadelphia Eagles, to send their former first-round pick Jahar Dotson and a fifth-round pick to the Birds for a third-round pick and two seventh-round picks in 2025. Dotson, coming out of Penn State in 2022, I always felt like he was a reach for Washington. Man, that team really does a lot of reaches in the first round. I mean, a lot. But they needed him to be a solid number two to take the constant double team off of Terry McLaurin. He never really got there. He's pretty much only good in the slot, and he drops a ton of passes. But this is a good pickup for the Eagles, who really, really need a slot receiver, who need a number three target for Jalen Hurts. They're really thin at wide receiver after A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. And honestly, there's very little downside. They gave up very little in the way of draft capital for him. Eagles haven't had a whole lot of third-round picks work out for them over the years. Isaac Seumalo, I would say, their guard that they picked up in 2017, maybe. Before that, probably Nick Foles in 2012. I wouldn't be losing sleep over losing that pick. Hey, do you remember when Paul Skeens was such a lock for NL Rookie of the Year that sportsbooks actually stopped taking bets on it? Well, you can fire your books back up because there's a whole new favorite in town in the Padres center fielder Jackson Merrill. Skeens, I have the exact same worry about him as I famously had about anyone who throws 100-mile-an-hour fastballs all the time, and that's just that his arm is not long for this world. We've seen it time and again. The brightest flames burn quickest. Skeens has not been the same since the All-Star break in that he's looked human. He's pitched to a mere mortal 3.13 ERA in 5 starts since the break. His fastball's definitely lost a little bit of velocity. And by that, I mean this is a guy who averaged 100 with his fastball, 101 sometimes now, dipped down to about 98. Now, that doesn't really seem like a lot. Of course, it's 2 miles an hour. How much of a difference can that possibly be for hitters? It's a difference. 98 is what, it's a high level for MLB starters to average that, but way more starters in Major League Baseball average 98 with their fastball than do 99, 100, 101. It really does make a difference, and you can see the results. I mean, that'll tell you everything that you need to know. You can see the results in the hits and the runs that Skeens has been giving up since the All-Star break. Probably just, taking a little bit off of it, I'm imagining on purpose. Just to try and preserve his arm through the season. Now, Jackson Merrill, on the other hand, he's hitting .291, really, really solid, 18 home runs and 71 RBIs for the Padres. That's really impressive numbers for a center fielder. Padres are tied with the Diamondbacks now for the number one wild card spot in the National League, and they've moved up to only 4 games of the Dodgers in the NL West. Both of those teams have. Merrill's a vacuum cleaner out there in center. He's got a ton of speed on top of it. He's got 13 stolen bases so far this year to boot. Skeens' Rookie of the Year odds with some books they were as high as minus 5,000. I mean, you got to bet $5,000 to win 100 at that range. Before they just got cut off because there was nobody else who was even in the running. But now he's better than even money at plus 120, and Merrill has taken the lead at minus 170 as far as the odds for NL Rookie of the Year. It's a light card tonight. It's Thursday. There were a lot of day baseball games. There are 6 games going on tonight, and 2 of them have caught my eye, so let's get right to it. And we're going to start with the Reds and the Pirates, where we've got 2 pitchers who are really struggling lately against 2 offenses that really aren't faring that much better. Nick Lodolo, who I was very high on his rookie year, he's had a real rough slump since he came back from the IL. His last 8 starts, he's at a 7.30 ERA with a 1.46 WHIP. Moreover, he's having trouble making it through 6 innings in a lot of these starts, and that was one of the things that was a really big selling point with him coming up his rookie year, was his ability to last really, really long in games. Didn't give up a whole lot of walks, didn't pitch a whole lot of balls out of the strike zone, really attacked the zone, but now he's just really struggling for it. That being said, the Pirates lineup has stunk up the joint to an incredible degree their last 10 games. They're hitting .226 and averaging under 3 runs a game their last 10. They're not hitting for contact or for power. I think that might serve to keep the runs down a bit. Paul Skeens, as we just talked about, he's off a little, but he's still got what would be solid numbers if you compare them to the entire universe of MLB starters right now. The Reds don't really have any good left-handed power apart from Ellie De La Cruz when he hits from the left. They're terrible against right-handed batters, hitting only .228, only averaging 4.5 runs per 9. All told, I'm expecting a low-scoring game tonight. I know the total is only 7.5, but I think this game comes in under that. So give me the Reds Pirates under 7.5. And on the West Coast tonight, we have the Mets and the Padres in what is suddenly a very important series for the wild card standings. The Mets sit a game and a half back of the Braves for the final wild card spot. The Padres are 5.5 games ahead of them in the first spot. Mets could do themselves a ton of favors with a win in this series, but they're running up against a buzzsaw tonight in Dylan Cease, who's been lights out since the All-Star break with a 1.62 ERA and 36 strikeouts in 33 1/3 innings since then. However, the Mets lineup did show that they could get to him back in their last meeting. They knocked him around for 7 runs. They're completely healthy. I don't expect them to be able to kill him again with the form that he's been in, but they should be able to at least hit him around better than most teams would. Meanwhile, Luis Severino has struggled since the All-Star break. He's only been able to make it past the 5th inning in his last start against the Marlins. And the Marlins, you got to remember, they're a team that packed up their season at the end of April. They're only out there to collect paychecks. Prior to that, he'd given up 17 runs and 27 hits in 18 innings of work since the break for a whip of almost 2. The Padres absolutely crush right-handed pitchers. They average over 5 runs per 9 against them, and they're hitting .270 on the season against them. They're going to get the early advantage in this game, but both teams are going to knock the other starters around a bit. I'm going over 3.5 runs on the first 5 innings in this game's second and final pick of the night. That's it for me. Like I said, light card tonight, a bigger one tomorrow, and then on Saturday we have week 0 of college football, and the floodgates open. Everyone bet safe, stay safe. Follow us on, well, I used to say on Twitter, but now it's X at Live One Sports. Check us out on Roku and Fire TV at the Live Ones. Everybody's have yourselves a great Thursday night, and I will see you tomorrow.